everyone and welcome to today's video, which is my first reading wrap up of the year. It's already the end of January. I feel like this month went really quickly, but I read 8 books this month and I actually found some new favourites which I'm really happy with. So let's get into the reviews. And the first book that I read this month was our book club's book of the month. If you're not already following the Book Talk Book Club on Instagram and TikTok, you should definitely do that. But this month's pick I was in charge of. So between the 3 choices that was put on the Instagram stories, this is the one that won, and it was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So this was my first read of the year and I thoroughly enjoyed this. This was so good. I can't believe I waited this long to read this book because I've had it for like at least 2 years. And it just had everything that I expected it to have and more. It's a great YA mystery and it even has mixed media, so you do get like pages of scanned documents, you get interviews and phone calls, as well as some like police interviews and maps in there, which I just find so much fun. I love when a mystery book includes those aspects. And I've also heard that the audiobook version of this is also really good to listen to, because when you're reading about the phone interviews, they actually have multiple actors to play out the phone calls, so that's like a cool aspect of the audiobook. I haven't read it that way, but a few of the other book club members did and they really liked it like that. So I ended up really enjoying this, and because it's a mystery I don't really want to say too much about it, but I did really like the characters and I'm really looking forward to the TV show that's going to come out this year. I think it's this year anyway. They started filming it last year, but the girl that plays Pip is the girl that was Enid in Wednesday. So I'm really excited to see the show. I don't know how the rest of the series is going to play out though, because this mystery was kind of solved at the end of this book. So is there going to be a new mystery in the other 2 books or what? I don't really know, but this for me was a 5 stars. I'm really happy that this was my first book of the year because I started the year off with a great book and I'm really happy with that. The next book that I read was The Italian Marriage, and this is pretty much what it seems, a marriage in Italy, but not just any marriage in Italy. It is a marriage of convenience. So we do have a fake marriage, kind of fake dating vibes, where the 2 main characters are pretending to be married so that the guy can get his inheritance. But when they get to Italy to claim the inheritance, they find there's another family member who is also trying to get the inheritance. So then there's like this competition where they have to do up hotels, and it was really interesting to see. I quite enjoyed the descriptions of Italy. I've never been to Italy, but now I really want to go because it just sounds so good in this book. And all the descriptions of the hotel and doing up the hotel, it was like watching a little renovation show, which I really liked. The only thing I didn't love about this book was the writing style. It did take me some getting used to, because you do see both perspectives of the main characters in the book, which is fine. Like lots and lots of romance books have that. However, the perspectives were all in the same chapter, and I don't know, it just like confused me a bit. I'm used to seeing 2 perspectives with like each character having their own chapter, or it like saying who it is so then you know what they're thinking. But this, you kind of got it all at once, so you would see characters like saying this, and then it would be like this character thought this, blah 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 blah, thinking this, and then it would go straight into like the other character of what they're thinking, which I guess is like good to see if you want to know what they're thinking at all times. But I like the aspect of a romance book with split perspectives where you have to like kind of wait to find out like what the other character was thinking. So that was like the only thing. I don't know if that's just a me problem, but that was like the first time like I like read a book that I was like, oh, that just seems a little strange to me. But other than that, like the character's really good, loved the setting, so I ended up giving this a 3 stars. And the next book I read was a middle grade book, and it is I can never say this title, Andromache. Between words. Yes. It's a middle grade and I quite enjoyed it. It's about our main character whose name is Andromache, and she like goes between worlds. It's like parallel universes type vibe, so it's like a sci-fi fantasy. I really liked the characters. I liked going into the different worlds. It was such a fun adventure story, and I feel like it'd be a great addition to any young reader's collection. I think it was like super fun. There was never a dull moment because we're constantly changing into the parallel worlds, and it was so interesting to explore these new worlds. So I really enjoyed this and I ended up giving it a 4 stars. Next, I read a non-fiction book, which is definitely something new for me. It was one of my reading goals to read a non-fiction, so I got it out of the way in January, and that was I'm Glad My Mum Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I am a bit late to this book. I swear everyone's read it. My mum's even read it and she barely reads. So I finally got around to it and it was like really interesting. There were so many things that happened in her life that I was like literally not aware of, and as someone that grew up watching her and loving her shows that she was in, I was shocked. But I would definitely recommend you read this book even if you don't know who she is, because it's like a great exploration into how bad the child acting profession is. So I did find this really interesting to read about, but I didn't end up giving this a rating because I just thought it would be like kind of rude to rate someone's life, but she wrote it very well. She's a great writer. The next book I read was Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, and I've been meaning to read this book for so long. I swear it had made its way into so many TBR videos last year, and I finally got around to it, and I loved it. Was I expecting anything less? No. But this was just like so good. Once again with Ali Hazelwood we have our women in STEM. So this time the story was set in NASA, and our main character B, she's like, what does she do? Neuroengineering, it says. So it's like all stuff to do with the brain regarding astronauts and like space helmet things, which is very interesting. I had not a clue what they were talking about half the time. As always with Ali Hazelwood books, I don't understand the science, but I really like it. But the galaxy leggings? Did we not leave that like 10 years ago? She's wearing the galaxy leggings. I guess it fits the workplace, NASA. But this one, I guess, again, somewhat rivals to Lovers, because the main characters like don't really like each other, but then you kind of find out why and what happened, which I also really liked, and then obviously a romance from there, and I liked it a lot. I don't know where to rank this in my Ali Hazelwood books that I've read, because definitely Love Theoretically is still my favourite, but I'm like, what would this be now? I don't know. But I did give it a 4.5, and as always I'm excited to read anything else that Ali Hazelwood puts out. Still haven't read Check and Mate. I need to get myself a copy of that because I really want to read it. And then I still have 2 more novellas in the Loathe to Love You series, and I also have to read Bride as well, which is her supernatural romance that she's coming out with on February 6th, I believe, but I do have an early copy, so I should have already read it by now. But I haven't for some crazy reason. But this one, great, definitely recommend if you haven't read it already, but it was just so good. Like, Ali Hazelwood, of course I loved it. And then the next 3 books that I'm going to talk about, I did talk about in my most recent reading vlog, so you should definitely check out that reading vlog anyway. But I did read 3 popular TikTok books, the first one being One Dark Window. This is a fantasy book with a really unique magic system based on these cards. So you have to have the cards in order to wield the magic that they possess. And I thought it was super interesting. I loved the characters and the character growth, and then that ending, I'm shocked. I don't know where it will go in the second book. So I might have to read that next month because I need to find out. It has a romance subplot as well, which was really fun to see, and I just like enjoyed this so much. It's a gothic fantasy, so all the descriptions were like really eerie, and the town they were in was like constantly in like this fogginess because of like the spirits in the woods. They created this fog that kind of poisons people. So it was like really interesting, and I really liked it. So I ended up giving this a 4.5 stars. Cannot wait to read the sequel. And I just love the cover as well. Definitely give it a read, because like gothic fantasies, I feel like they never miss. And then next I read a popular romance book that I swear everyone but me has read, and it is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. And this is an ice hockey and figure skating sports romance. Really enjoyed it actually. I was kind of surprised because I had heard people say that they didn't like it and they didn't think the writing was great, and I can see that because it's not revolutionary. It's not anything new. It's a romance book. Like, it's not a literary masterpiece, but it was fun. And I will read the sequel and I will enjoy it, won't I? Because I enjoyed this. It was good. Now I want to learn figure skating. Now I need to see an ice hockey game. So I quite enjoyed it, and I'm excited to read the sequel because then the 3rd book is coming out later this year, and I will also be reading that because I'm excited to see more of Henry. So this was a 4 stars for me. And then the last book we have is another romance book with kind of a sci-fi twist, and that would be The 7 Year Slip. This was crazy. It follows these characters that live in this apartment where there's like a 7-year time jump. And so one's kind of living in the past while the other one's living in the present, but then I don't even know how to explain it, but it was so good. I really enjoyed this, and the main guy was a chef. The amount of food that he was cooking that I wanted to try, I wish, you know how people talk about like TVs having smell-o-vision? I wish you could read a book and the things that happen in the book like appear. Like, I want to have that pasta, I want to have that pie, I want to have the fajitas. Give me the food, guys. You can't expect me to read the descriptions of the food and not want to eat it. Come on. Imagine if they did like food subscription boxes based off the books you're reading, like HelloFresh, the 7-year slip edition, and it will give you like a meal and the lemon pie dessert. That is a really smart business plan. I think I've just come up with something. How good would that be? Oh my gosh. Anyway, but besides the food, which is definitely not the main part of the story, we do have lots of character growth because obviously we see the differences between like the 7 years of the characters, and also would recommend looking up some trigger warnings because there are some difficult topics talked about as well. But otherwise, really enjoyed this. I wonder if this will be made into a movie, because if it was, how would that work with the whole 7-year time jump? Would they have to get different actors? I wonder. But this was really enjoyable. I feel like I did not do a good job at explaining what this is, but maybe you don't need an explanation. Maybe just know that it's good and go into it and then explore for yourself about how crazy fun this plotline is. Like, who could come up with that? So I ended up giving this a 4.5 stars as well. Really enjoyed it. Such a great book. So those were the 8 books I read in January. The first 8 books that I've read in 2024. I am so happy that they were all really good and that I didn't have anything to complain about, because that would be a horrible start to the new year. But yeah, I had some amazing books. I would love to know what books you read in January and what your thoughts were on them. I hope you found a new favourite. Please let me know in the comments, so maybe I can add them to my endless TBR as well. But if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below so you do not miss any new videos from me. I do post every single Saturday, but I have been posting a little bit more frequently recently, so you do not want to miss any new uploads. But that is it for today. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!